round 5, the Australian Championship brings us a familiar clash, albeit in a new competition. Sydney United 58 and West's APIA will meet for the 111th time in their history, the 4th time this year, but just the 2nd time in the Australian Championship. For Sydney United 58, this is their last competitive fixture at their home ground this year, potentially, so a chance to try and send off 2025 in a good way against a side they have a lot of recent success against. For West APIA, the equation is simple. To finish top spot in this group, they need to go perfect from here on out. A win today will also practically secure progression. Good evening and welcome to Adensa Park in Sydney's West, the Sydney United Sports Centre, the sun setting just behind a picturesque venue for football today in this all-important Group D clash, with West APIA pushing for progression and Sydney United looking for a bit of optimism as we take a look at how the groups are shaking up at the moment. Group A and Group B all set nicely at the moment, with South Melbourne and Heidelberg topping those two groups respectively. All those big games coming your way on SBS On Demand and the Football Australia YouTube channel, wherever you enjoy watching these ones. But all the eyes are going to be on Group D today. You can see there in Group D, West APIA sit on 7 points after their late draw with Metro Stars. A dramatic finish to that one, 93rd minute equalising goal from Drayden Kelly has them sitting in a good spot, but they know that they'll want to try and finish top spot if they are to secure a home quarter-final. So let's take a look at how the teams are shaking up in this one. There are our referees. So taking the match ball, APIA will be wearing their new black and white Wests themed kit. Sydney United 58 in their traditional red and white. Our referees out in the middle. A reminder that you can vote on who you think will win this one. APIA will be favoured, no doubt, after their heavy win earlier in this competition, but Sydney United 58, if there is a side that knows how to get the better of APIA, it is Sydney United. They have a lot of success against them in these last 2 or 3 years. So scan that QR code to have your say, as there is veteran Janjetovic going through the pre-match formalities. His other keeper, Oli Kalatz, just on screen. So that's how the Sydney United 58 team lines up. The 3 changes with Carlos de Oliveira, Jordan Ivancic missing out due to suspension, and Marco Arambasic out. They were all replaced by Gabriel Tillo, Carl Cimenti, and a new man in midfield, Tomislav Ozanic. Here is the West APIA lineup for Franco Parisi. He makes a couple changes as well after the 1-1 draw against the Metro Stars. Yaya El Hindi drops out of midfield, replaced by Franco Farinella. Like for like there. Jordan Segredo is also out of the 11. Jack Stewart comes in his place. So that is how they line up top to bottom. So Sydney United 58, there they are. Just the 1 point in the group stage so far, looking for the win, looking to get the home fans on their feet. Ante Juric in the dugout, taking Sydney United 58 through here, looking to guide their club to their first set of 3 points. On the other end is West APIA. They are playing with confidence, albeit slightly down on confidence after going 2 games without a win. They know that they need to try and find form again, not only if they are to progress out of this group, but if they are to get to the quarterfinals with some momentum. And today represents a great opportunity to do just that. And that will be what is on this man's mind, Franco Parisi, who has won everything there is to win in New South Wales, has taken out the Premiership, the Championship, and the Waratah Cup. Wouldn't he like to add an Australian Championship to that collection? Our man in the middle today is Jack Powers. He'll be taking us through proceedings. He is assisted by Aaron Block and Lucy Hungerford. And so Sydney United 58 there to get us underway, and a good opportunity to bring in my guest in the booth tonight, NPL New South Wales Premiership winning coach David Perkovic. And Perko, we've seen these teams play a lot. What can we expect to see today? Is it going to be anything different?
Really looking forward to this one today. We've got two coaches that definitely want to change the fortune of the last 2 or 3 games. Definitely wanting the chance to top the group, but at least qualify, and a win today would definitely help their cause to do that. Sydney United, whilst mathematically they still can make it, I think first and foremost they want to get a good result here, just to give something to their fans to celebrate. So I'm expecting two teams to go all out to try and get 3 points today.
Yeah, it's always interesting seeing these same-state clashes. We've seen it with a couple of the Victorian sides that know each other quite well, but when you're in a different format, it can change things quite quickly as Coco gets the ball moving through midfield, and Sydney United will look to play it around the back. Meccano there with Tomalic. A new centre-back pairing, of course, with Tomalic dropping into that position. He usually occupies that central defensive role, as Cementi has picked it up in a good position here for Krislovic, and Sydney United will get the first go on attack before Sean Simmons puts that to an end. Kambiyashi, so deft, but is immediately shut down by United, and they can choose to take it forward here, Sydney United. Meccano steps out of the back line, looking for options centrally. Chips it towards the box intended for Cementi. Second ball will come down here, potentially kindly for United. There is Milicevic on the edge of the area, couldn't free the feet. And as Kambiyashi has his eyes up, but decides to just settle down slightly.
Good start from United, as they did a couple of weeks ago against Metro Stars. Started out really confidently, but whether they can sustain it is the question on everybody's mind. They haven't put a 90-minute performance in as yet, so hopefully they can do that at home today.
Big talking point out of that game for West Apia. Not only was the amount of chances that they had, Coco, but they lose Dom Costanzo as well with the red card suspension. Does that impact their depth, a side that's quite known for their depth? We'll get back to that in a moment, as United are on the charge with Krislovic. Has Farakoko making a run centrally. Fong sees it away, and then Kelly makes a more meaningful attempt at getting it out.
Well, if there's any team that can deal with a suspension or an injury, it definitely is Apia. They've got a lot of depth to their squad. We saw that in the first fixture against Metro Stars, where they changed their whole front line in one substitution and got impact straight away. So whilst Dom Costanzo is a very, very good player, they've got very, very good players still available.
That's the great part of this West Apia squad, especially in attack. I think a lot of teams are envious of the bench they can possess, as United have started quite brightly here, and that's been the key for them, with Meccano and Tomalic exchanging passes early. Rule drifting inwards, and Apia try and keep them down that side, but they find their way out. Gabriel Tillo has the free space to take. Cutting inside onto that right foot, looking for the midfield. Finds Milicevic. There's Ozanic, the 17-year-old central midfielder. Has big shoes to fill. Of course, the big talking point pre-match was the absence of their number 10, Carlos de Oliveira. Good turn, and now United can burst forward here. Krislovic is in the area. Good save by Kalatz. Had to get down quickly. And the first chance of the game goes the way of the hosts. And Apia have been put under a bit of pressure as Fong is forced to find the sideline.
I do like Bailey Rule playing on his favoured side. He likes to overlap and join the attack well. As we see Krislovic strike here, and a very good save from Kalatz, cutting the angles very well. Obviously Kalatz playing his former club, and obviously his father being a legend of Sydney United and the Socceroos as well. So he'll want to play a big game at his former home ground.
Stewart looking to respond quickly, and that ball will swivel out, and Apia will get the first corner of the game, immediately responding to that chance, and Apia showing how quickly they can transition from defence to attack. There is Presley Ortiz, the man who has one goal to his name in this competition. It's actually Drayden Kelly that is Apia's top scorer with 2. The centre-back popping up with a couple of headers, an unlikely source of goals, but he's popped up with some important ones, including last weekend. Simmons and Kambiyashi over this corner. Left-footed delivery from Sean Simmons. It's back to Michael Kuda, who will have to retrieve it. Kaspers is there in support. Still with Michael Kuda, who's being heavily pressed and is eventually kicked to the ground by Krislovic.
A little bit of inexperience there from Krislovic. He had Sean Simmons facing backwards, not a lot of options. Giving away the free kick made it an easy out for Simmons and gives another opportunity to APIA, who's been excellent off set pieces in this competition.
For a side that is known for playing quite fluidly, I think the set piece has been a key part of their game so far. They have a lot of weapons that can punish teams. And when you have a man like this on the ball, Seiya Kambiashi is very good at picking out anyone in any sort of position. So Seiya Kambiashi stands over this. Numbers make their way forward for West Apia. It's a good ball towards Drayden Kelly and forces Vedran Janjetovic to tip it over.
Yeah, look, Sydney United obviously conceded it from a set piece from the first fixture with Drayden Kelly getting off a corner piece, but you can't just leave Drayden Kelly with that much space in the box. Guided it straight to Janjetovic, which is a routine save for someone of his calibre, but that should be a warning sign for Sydney United, that's for sure. Yeah,
they won't want to give him much more space again, as Kambiashi again over the far side corner, whips it in. Again, it's towards Kelly. That time Janjetovic punches, but Apia know the man they want to find. Meanwhile, Drayden Kelly is down in back play here, and now this, for Apia's sake, you hope is not too serious, and he looks like he'll be back on his feet.
Well, for the first time since I've noticed that Apia's brought on Patrick Flopman on the bench, a central defender, which they normally haven't had in this competition on the bench. So if something's wrong with Drayden Kelly, they've definitely got an able replacement there, but you wouldn't want to lose that threat off set pieces, that's for sure. He's been in great form, Drayden Kelly.
He knows how to step up in big games as well. Scored in the semi-final against Marconi and scored in the NPL New South Wales Grand Final against Rockdale, which would be the winner, so can score when needed, and also scored, of course, last week. And it's a stat worth repeating. He's their top scorer with 2 goals. He had 4 goals all season. As now he has to distribute from the back with Fong and Apia being pressed here. Ozanic is there, and United briefly win it back, but Coco and Chimenti can't sort their feet out.
What I would like to see from Sydney United when that press initially goes forward from the front line, from that front 4, you want to see that defensive line stepping up with them to minimise the space in between. If Apia, whilst press, has a player facing forwards, it could really hurt Sydney United. So they've just got to make that space in between lines a little bit more compact.
Here is Kambiashi. Monch got a touch, but only to the benefit of Sydney United. Krizovic tries to track it down. There is Milicevic on the far side. Will has to step across to try and make a challenge. You can see immediately how many numbers swarm Seiya Kambiashi as soon as he picks up the ball. It's been rare to see him not with 2 red shirts around him. Here is Farah Coco. Tillo is making the overlapping run. Jack Stewart had to track him all the way, and that time the Apia winger performs his defensive duties well, and he's picked up a foul in the process.
Yeah, very good tracking back there by Jack Stewart, identifying that threat from Tilio.
United have to be careful. Kambiashi has won it back here in a good position. Presley Ortiz trying to find the shooting angle, still with Ortiz. Edge of the area for Farinella. Skews it wide, and Sydney United almost paid a costly price for turning it over inside their own defensive third.
Yeah, Sydney United got to look after the ball better in their defensive third there, but Encana provided really good pressure on the ball, which delayed Apia's attack, but they still got a shot away on goal, but off target.
Janjetovic will take no chances this time, go long and send it up, but Sean Simmons is underneath it, as is Eddie Kaspers. Falls eventually for Krizlovic, and now Farah Coco is thinking about getting the step on Fong, but an Apia defender was just a bit ahead of him. Stewart. Tillo is going to track him all the way. First time pass by Kambiashi is intercepted, and then Janjetovic can find Ozanic. Tillo. Teenagers exchanging passes. It's a young Sydney United 58 squad. No doubt they'll be relying on the experience of Players like Vedran Janjetovic, Anthony Tomilic, those sorts of experienced names to guide them through.
Trementi as well. He's been around the league for a long time, whilst he's returned to the club, but he's been around for a while.
And now Drayden Kelly looks like he's going to pick up a booking here for an incident in back play. And now the APIA central defender is going to have to carry the rest of the 90 minutes on a booking. It's Krizlovic that's down, holding his back. Coming together between the two of them, and now the physios are going to be called, so this presents an interesting equation potentially for West APIA. Perko. Drayden Kelly, who has been very key to them, not only picked up a knock, but is now on a booking.
Yeah, it's early in the game on a booking, but he's an experienced defender. I feel like he should manage well with the booking. It's just got to be smart now. Only if Sydney United have, are threatening in attack often, it will be a worry for Franco Parisi. But if they can maintain their efforts, then there shouldn't be a problem. Has the referee just asked him to go off?
I think so. I think
which isn't the rule, because it's a yellow card, so he should be allowed on.
So Krizlovic is standing on the halfway line, waiting for his instructions to enter.
That's a bit bizarre, unless I've misread the rules somewhere there. But my understanding is if there's a yellow card issued, he should be allowed to stay on the field.
He's back on there now, and United are back at their full complement. Of course, it was at this point in the game last week that they were already down a man after Jordan Ivancic's red card early in the piece against Bayswater.
Good strong tackle there by by Rose. Almost got
Dylan Rose out there, of course. Easy to get all the Roses confused, as Cambiashi has given something to chase, but that's far too close to Vedran Janjetovic. And Dylan Rose is one of the plethora of young new signings that Sydney United 58 have brought into this team. Krizlovic, one of them as well. A lot of players looking to make their mark in the absence of a lot of players that have been injured for United that have missed this competition. There's Nakano. Pass up top for Krizlovic, who has to chase it around the back line, and he's not shy in the challenge, is young Michael Krizlovic. He's been knocked around a little bit as well, and he's quite a tall lad.
Yeah, well, he's fairly robust. I expect him to deal with it. Should have got that Rose right, because Liam's got a lot more facial hair than Dylan, so my apologies.
Confirmation of that booking to Drayden Kelly, as there is Fong and Krizlovic going toe-to-toe. Simmons, rare opportunity for him to overlap. Haven't seen this just yet. Monge turns over possession.
Well dealt with.
United can take it away. Coco drifting centrally. Nakano hasn't been afraid to get forward from centre back. He's very capable with the ball, of course. It's probably one of his strongest attributes, is the way he's able to play with the ball at his feet. As United will just take a temporary pause with Rose in possession. Allows APIA to sit back. Here is Nakano. Decides against the direct option. Rose.
Love that by Rose, just opening his body up, takes away the defender nice and easily. Would have been nice if he had a short option.
United
does well here.
Look to play between the lines. They found the pass they wanted to Krizlovic, but the overlap wasn't quite there. APIA can take over now. It's been an interesting first 15 minutes. What do you make of it so far, Perko?
Yeah, look, whilst there's been no clear-cut chances, I think it's been fairly end-to-end without the end product and the final pass being evident. But I think both teams are showing a fairly good account of themselves so far. Looking forward to the next 15 to see if anyone can construct any constructive goal-scoring opportunities. And I feel the first goal in this game is going to be really critical. I think the opposition that concedes first will be very, very nervous given the group stage and where both teams are at.
Farinella can turn and face forward. Has Stewart alongside him. Stewart, first time delivery intended for Ortiz, a bit long, but it might still fall for West APIA. Now with Sean Simmons. Can put in a good cross. Decides the short option to Caspers is where he'll go. Cambiashi. Milicevic is in front of him, just holding him in that position. Now Cambiashi makes his move. Kaspers tries that chip pass, might get a second go at it here. Monge takes over. Bouncing ball stays with him. Apia's turn to knock it about in the final third. Stewart. Deflected. Will fall the way of Milicevic. Strong by Kaspers and fair, says our referee. Simmons with a shot from range. Clipping the crossbar. And he's the man that can hit them. And that time he had Vedran Janjetovic beaten.
Yeah, look, Sydney United don't want to get into the same rut that they got into against West Apia in the first fixture where they deep defended for a lot of the game. They want to use their triggers of pressing a lot more vigorously, a lot more constructively to get different moments in the game. But sitting on their 18-yard box is not conducive to a proactive performance.
We saw Metro Stars try that last week in the second half against West Apia, and it almost worked until the 93rd minute when Drayden Kelly popped up, but I think they conceded something like 30 shots in that game, and in the end Apia were just able to barge down the door and get an important point, which has them 3 points clear of Metro Stars in third spot, which makes this game all the more important. No doubt Metro Stars will be keeping an eye on this one. They know they have a big job to do when they play Bayswater in the other group game. Good touches by Fong. Has his eyes up and has gone right through the centre of the park before Milicevic steps in. Important interception there.
This last period of the game is setting up nicely for Franco Parisi's men. This is exactly what Apia want from a game play. They want to pin their opposition in their half, maintain possession. Field positioning is important.
Stewart tries, and that Vedran Janjetovic had to get across again. And as you mentioned, Perko, Apia are starting to really turn the gears on this United defence.
Yeah, like I said, they want to pin the opposition in the opposition half. They're happy to have with or without the ball in these areas, because without the ball they can then win the ball up in high areas and then provide a counter press to create goal scoring opportunities. But they're also capable of producing 5 or 6 passes then to find the key pass to set up a goal scoring opportunity. And it also increases these moments here of set pieces.
Simmons, third corner of the game for West Apia. Again, it's towards Michael Kuda, who has just been lingering around that back post, maybe looking for a knockdown or something like that. And the second phase of the set piece is coming.
A couple of those set pieces being overhit so far from Apia. They want to get that right, because they know that they've been successful against Sydney United before with these set pieces.
Ball recycles out with Drayden Kelly. He's returned to that central defence position with Fong. Cambiashi has switched wings, and there'll be another corner coming the way of West Apia, and no surprise that Apia, as they have gotten more comfortable in this game, are starting to just camp out in the attacking third.
Yeah, it's precious really building on Sydney United. They've got to stay composed in these moments, ride the wave of momentum being shifted. If they can get through this period, it will do a lot for their confidence.
Sean Simmons just having a bit of a discussion with the assistant referee. There's 2 Sydney United players right there to mark the short corner. Something from the training ground for West Apia. Back with Cambiashi, and again they've hit the woodwork. As I think the player picks up the ball in an offside position on the way through. Franco Farinello on the rebound, but again West Apia inches away from putting one past Vedran Janjetovic, and it's a training ground move to Seiya Cambiashi.
Very nice rehearsed move there, just unfortunately getting offside in that routine. Sydney United need to maintain possession now, keep the ball for a little bit. Don't risk it too early in the phase of play. They need to build some momentum, but also get some defensive relief.
Milicevic, that's a good pass forward for Tillo. He's gotten around the keeper, is claiming a touch on the way through, and United almost immediately responded with the young left fullback being left unmarked, one-on-one potentially.
Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first goal kick from Apia. They're going short.
I think so, yeah.
And the full press from Sydney United, which is encouraging to see, being proactive, seeing if they can turn over possession. They need to double down though.
So take a look picture in picture.
Work
a great
hard.
pass by Aiden Milicevic, and Tillo was so close to getting on the end of that, as now it's APIA's turn to move down their side of the pitch.
I feel like Sydney United back off a little bit too early in the phase of play. Happy to sit on their 18-yard box or in there or thereabouts. Too early in the phase of play, giving too much field positioning to APIA.
Simmons has had a lot of success recently against Sydney United 58, scored that amazing free kick to make it 2-0 in a 4-0 victory. Ortiz, Kelly and Costanzo getting the other goals in an earlier meeting in this Australian Championship. Tillo puts one down, hoping for someone. It'll only find Franco Parisi. And to talk about the record between these two teams, even though in recent times APIA have been more successful in terms of ladder position, in the last 10 games, United have won 6 of those and drawn 2. Only 2 wins for West APIA, including last time out. So United have proven to be APIA's bogey side, especially in finals and cup games. Not so much in the Australian Championship just yet. There is Kalatz to meet it, and he'll take more of that all night.
Just a little bit too early in the phase of play to look to create Sydney United. They need to really develop more of the ball with the game. They don't want to turn over possession too early. Otherwise, they're going to have to defend for a lot of these moments of this game.
So Njedovic gets the easy turnover. Meccano. You see Monge stepping out there to join Presley Ortiz. APIA happy to allow United to just keep it here for the time being. Turned over there is Fong. If you're sitting at home and you want to have your say on who can win this one, reminder that you can scan the code on screen and we can take a look at how the fans have been voting so far. Any surprises there, Perko, with APIA having 70% of the vote?
Given the two tables at the moment, not surprised, but not surprised by given the start of the game as well.
Coco.
I wouldn't rule out.
Almost combined there, and Milicevic has been buzzing about in midfield, and that's not the first time that he's linked up with one of his wingers.
Yeah, but both those wingers are willing to come inside and operate in the half spaces, which is encouraging to see. I'd like to see Sydney United maintain a little bit more possession, just build a little bit of confidence, because when they've sat deep for too long in phases of games, it hasn't usually been successful for them. So players need to feel some sort of success, small wins to start off with. Turning over possession in their own half is not going to help that, but
they almost turn it over right there, and eventually Presley Ortiz takes it. Here is Ortiz. Out wide with Saya Kambiashi. He is looking to his players for support. Good link up with Ortiz. Here is Kambiashi. And he does it as he always does. Saya Kambiashi now has his first goal in the Australian Championship. And he links up with his number 9, Presley Ortiz. And the pressure finally works for West APIA.
APIA doing what they do best, winning the ball in the opposition half whilst the defence isn't set. You can see here in the replay, losing the ball in the final, well, the defensive third, Sydney United. Kambiashi combining with Ortiz, and Kambiashi hardly ever gets it wrong in those situations. Puts the ball in the back of the net, gets APIA in a strong position, 1-0.
And the pass from Presley Ortiz was so well taken. It was an awkward height. He had to readjust with his back to goal, but put it on a platter for Saya Kambiashi. As APIA add another scorer. Gets his first goal. He's on the board now in the national competition, as now they start to really play with confidence. Farinella with Stewart. Quick feet from him and good awareness by Eddie Kaspers. They're wanting to really keep it now. Another goal certainly on their minds. Kuda. There's a lot of space in front of him. Looking for that direct option. Brought down by Stewart. Puts it back towards the edge of the area before United clear it away. Chimenti is asked to hold it up and does well. Krislovic, far too close to Fong, who's got a tough assignment on Farah Coco. Coco, of course, another one of these new signings, joining United from Manly, where he was Manly's top scorer for the season with 9 goals.
Had a very, very solid season, Farah Coco. Scored some spectacular goals for Manly. No doubt is the reason why he was on the radar for Sydney United to join them in the championship. Would like to see in those final thirds a little bit more often than what he has been. Give him some quality chances. I'm sure he'll produce some end product.
Apia will get the throw. There's Saya Kambiashi, all smiles right now for him. The man who has got the only goal right now. 8 goals to his name in the NPL season. Actually played in every game for West Apia, which is a remarkable stat given the depth Apia have, even in the NPL and all their rotation. But he was absolutely critical to their championship winning season, as was this man, Presley Ortiz. Tomlich combining well to defend. Now Coco has something a bit more concrete to work with. He can go one-on-one with Cameron Fong. Coco. And Fong saw the step overs, wasn't buying it before Coco recovers. And foul will go the way of Sydney United, and Farah Coco has done well to recover in that position.
Yeah, going back to Kambayashi, whether he's played as a winger, 10, or even as a fullback, ever present in this APIA starting lineup. He's had an impressive season.
Finished top 3 in the player of the season voting in the NPL. So take a look at this replay just quickly with Coco. You can see, tried a couple of the step overs, and Fong with some clean defending, tried to keep it alive, and then just clipped his ankles there, trying to win it back.
Good set piece for Sydney United, but they don't have a lot of height for Sydney United.
In comes the ball. It's a good ball in, and it's been nodded in. And United are back, in big thanks to Michael Krislovic, who has another goal to his name in this competition, exactly the way United wanted to respond.
Very, very good delivery in there by Sydney United. I mentioned they don't have a lot of height, but one of their tallest players on the pitch, Krislovic, bringing back memories of when I was growing up with Krislovic banging in headers at Adenza Park. We get to see it once again and puts his game back in the balance.
Well, that's his second consecutive goal at Adenza Park for young Michael Krislovic. Scored against Metro Stars a couple of weeks ago. And for a young man that is looking to grow out his own resume at Sydney United 58, that goal will certainly go a long way. And Apia will be, I think, bitterly disappointed, Perko, to have conceded in that fashion, having a lot of the ball and just not defending the set piece.
Definitely. For the neutral, obviously, this is a fantastic outcome to have the game back in the balance, give Sydney United a little bit more confidence for this game. They now believe they can do something against Apia, get a result, hopefully a win for their fans. Their fans are definitely dying for a positive performance from their side, and that's a good way to respond after the early setback.
Just the 1 point so far through 4 games for Sydney United 58. And to get off the cellar of this group, as Tomlich wasn't taking any chances that time, falls to Milicevic. Sean Simmons is immediately on his back and forces the turnover. Bailey Rule out on the wing, look for him overlapping. That's a sight that will be used to. There's the Apia coaching staff and Adrian Uccino on the far side, their club leader, veteran midfielder. Franco Parisi, no doubt, on his feet, barking out instructions, trying to get his side back into the ascendancy. And goals have been easy to come by for West Apia. They scored the most goals in the NPL by 7. 75 goals across the season through 26 games is an outstanding rate, almost 3 a game for the side that loves to play Franco Parisi's brand of what he calls sexy football. Goals in the Australian Championship have been harder to come by, especially when they play against more resolute defences, especially Bayswater, have been very troublesome for attacks to try and get past. And this is actually the group with the least amount of goals scored in it. Almost half of the next closest group.
With that amount of goals, I wonder if they not failed to score against any side. Oh, that's right. They didn't score against Spirit. That's right. That's right.
Last
in the NPL season.
Last time they were kept scoreless was against St. George City as well. It was back in July. Spirit getting the 3-0 win against APIA at home, which you would know a decent bit about, as here is Ozanic, a searching ball for Krislovic, and half-hearted suggestions of a handball. Only Krislovic was the one appealing, along with the United fans in the crowd. As Kalatz clears, but only onto the head of Coco, and APIA are being caught out at the back before Caspers takes over in midfield and tries to calm things down.
Sydney United definitely growing in confidence in this game. Starting to put a bit more pressure on that APIA defence, asking more questions. Krislovic looking for balls in behind.
And now Drayden Kelly has to be careful here. He is on that booking, and Krislovic is appealing very strongly, feeling that he was dragged back by the APIA central defender.
As I mentioned earlier, when Drayden Kelly got that yellow card, it's only going to become a problem if Sydney United are threatening in attack. And it seems to, since that goal, Sydney United definitely are playing with a little bit more confidence and asking more questions of Drayden Kelly.
Monte Juric will be happy with how his young forwards, alongside the more experienced Carl Chimenti, are testing this APIA backline. APIA not known for being a super strong defence. Simmons, a good ball in. Janjetovic was in two minds about going for it and got the slightest of fingertips to it, so we'll have the resulting corner. I think he was unsure if there was a player at the back post waiting for it, so decided to just tip it out of harm's way. And no one was directly there. But the threat continues by way of a corner.
Better safe than sorry, Janjetovic there. Dealing with it. Now Sydney United have to deal with a set piece.
And United fans watching on eagerly for how this game will pan out. Simmons, again, it's that familiar delivery towards the back post. Caspers was the man they found and just couldn't keep the header down.
Seems to be that they're trying to replicate how they scored against United in that first fixture, back post. The only difference is the directed, some of the set pieces have been overhit, but the ones that haven't been, they've been directed towards goal instead of back into the mixer, into the crowd of players where Drayden Kelly scored in that first fixture. So if they get too many practices at it, APIA will finally get it right. So Sydney United have to try to prevent as many of those set pieces as possible.
They're getting closer and closer, Perker. The delivery has been better and better as it's gone on. They were overhitting a couple of them early, and now they're putting them where they want them to be. There's APIA back in attack. Just over 10 to go in this first half. A goal apiece for Cambiashi and Michael Krislovic. As now Krislovic has dropped off the line a little bit. Here is Coco, who's been threatening to go forward. Fong has had him marked quite well so far. As the former Manly United man gets past the first defender, and Caspers finds a good pass as well, but the flag is up for Krislovic. And Farah Coco just showing a bit of flash as to what he can do in beating a man and finding the pass.
Really like that from Farah Coco. Turning, facing forwards. Krislovic made a nice run in behind, just went a little bit fraction too early, but a lot more positivity from Sydney United.
And these are a lot of players that are only finding their feet together. Coco, a new signing. Krislovic, a new signing. Chimenti, a new signing. These are a lot of players that are only playing with each other for the first couple of times. There's that strong by Farinella on Koya Nakano, and he might attract a bit more attention here from the referee. It's going to be just a stern warning for young Franco Farinella as he caught Koya Nakano. As we take a look at the replay here, pass goes back to Nakano just a little bit late. As he can't believe it.
On first impression, I thought it was a bit harsh, but his leg was a little bit high and caught him a little bit late. But I think the referee done well there not to book him.
These are matches that are played with a lot of feeling. As mentioned, these teams have met as many times as any teams have met in New South Wales in big games, in finals. And whilst not a major traditional rivalry, they're certainly competitive. As Cambiashi was looking for his second, and had Janjetovic at full stretch.
Big 10 minutes going into the last phase of this half for both sides. Sydney United need to end the half strong to gain some confidence going into the second half without having a result in the last three games, well, picking up a point in the last 3 games, whereas APIA, on the flip side, haven't got a win in their last 2. They want to end this half positively, seeing that they've conceded softly from a set piece.
Say Cambiashi has been looking lively, and that's always a good sign for West APIA. Kelly, physical battle with Chimenti. That time both players keep their hands out of the way, as Stewart can drift inwards as Farinella replacing him wide. Franco Farinella. Fong is in support. APIA taking a more patient approach. Caspers. This midfield has started to come into it more and more. Kuda with United set back deep. Out with Simmons. Takes his time to pick out the cross. It only deflects to Monge.
Yeah, not liking Sydney United sitting so deep on these occasions. Not putting enough pressure on the ball, allowing APIA to thread the pass through. They need to be a little bit more aggressive in their own half, especially in their final third. Can't let APIA face forward with no pressure in that final third to orchestrate attacks, because sooner or later they've got the quality to find that final pass and finish.
I'll be wary of all the goals that were put on them last time out at Leichhardt Oval, but Kalatz will restart. He'll take the full restart with the goal kick. And Kalatz, of course, first season at West APIA by way of the team he's playing against, as mentioned. Another one of these sons of great Sydney United players. A club with such a long history, and now the next generation in the Australian Championship. Cambiashi. Looking to pass this time. Finds his opposite winger in Stewart. Ortiz. He's added that part of his game with his back to goal, but United have been wiser to it after conceding. And now Kelly and Krislovic again go shoulder to shoulder. And that time the APIA centre-back is able to win it cleanly. Stewart. Good stand-up defending by young Gabriel Tillo.
Tillo did very, very well there. Sydney United need to maintain some possession now, get some good movement off the ball.
Tillo is the second youngest player to play in this competition at 16 years of age. As Kelly has his back to goal, had to get rid of it quickly. And Krislovic knows that Kelly is on a yellow card. He's very aware of that fact because you can see he's trying to bait him into some physical battles.
Krislovic making a nuisance of himself to that back line. He's doing very, very well. And don't be surprised if Chimenti finds a little bit of space because of the attention going on Krislovic.
It's been quiet so far for Chimenti, but he has the experience and the quality to put things away as Tillo. He goes forward now and is clipped, this time by Cameron Fong. As we etch towards the final stages of this first half, United have a free kick in a very similar position to where they scored a few minutes ago.
Speaking of going back to the replay here, Tillo asking questions of Fong and winning that free kick on the edge of the box. But Chimenti, as we were speaking about earlier, sometimes reminds me of a player I watched growing up, of Romario. Would often not see him for large parts of the game, but then in an important piece, find a little bit of space and get a one-touch finish.
Milicevic, 2 men in the wall for Kalatz. What can United do this time? It's a bit deeper of a delivery. Chimenti is up for it. There is Coco, and it's just over the bar from Sydney United 58, but they had another good chance from a very similar set piece.
Yeah, very good opportunity there from Sydney United. APIA need to deal better with these set pieces from Sydney United. Not attacking the ball, not being aggressive enough in these defensive moments.
Cambiashi and Stewart have switched wings, it seems, for the time being, and both Coco and Chimenti had really good opportunities just there. As you look picture in picture at the replay, the first falls the way of Chimenti just there, and then Coco tries to direct it goalwards, and Kalatz could only watch it go over his own crossbar. APIA breathed a sigh of relief. Reverse pass is well disguised, and now it's APIA's turn to try and work the set pieces. So both teams having plenty of practice from these dead ball situations.
Practicing from both an attacking and defensive perspective, but both teams will be nervous on defensive set pieces after both conceding against each other in the fixtures to date in the championship.
Saya Kambiashi, that in-swinging right-footed delivery. Sean Simmons is over there to be the short option. Milicevic and Tillo are the two men tasked with marking that. Numbers closer to the penalty spot this time, and Kelly was found, but had to acrobatically strain his neck just to get onto it, and Bailey Rule gives him a bit extra on the way out.
Don't know what Drayden Kelly's complaining about there. There's no push on him. But I really like how APIA is setting up these set pieces. They're setting up for a short corner, which invites two more defenders out for Sydney United. As I mentioned before, Sydney United don't have a lot of height or strong aerial presence in the team, which then allows APIA to attack the ball a little bit more freedomly with less numbers in the box. In particularly, Drayden Kelly.
Yeah, every team would be on notice if they weren't already, with Kelly having scored twice. And even if you just watched the New South Wales Grand Final, you would know that Kelly is the guy they want. He can pop up. There's just a couple minutes remaining in this first half. The game is set very nicely, and whilst APIA have probably had the lion's share of possession, Sydney United have shown they are more than capable of threatening and have almost made APIA pay more than once. And Simmons is boxed into a corner and will have to settle for a throw-in right in front of where the United fans have congregated. And this man on screen in particular, Farakoko, has been a real bright spot down this near side. What have you liked from his game so far, Coco?
Look, I like him when he's facing forwards in a situation where he's 1v1 isolated with his defender. That's when you bring out the best of him. I would like to see him get a little bit more receiving the ball in behind Fong, if Sydney United can do that, because then he's drawing out the central defender, which will create a 1v1 situation with the striker. Sydney United will be able to create a lot more chances if they can get in behind this APIA defence, especially on Farakoko's side.
Plenty of things on Franco Parisi's mind as his team tries to see out this first half. Always an interesting period of the game, the few minutes before half-time. Coco, this time he's gone into midfield. It's not the first time we've seen him do that. Now he's under heavy press between Farinella and Caspers. APIA are able to come away with possession. Simmons has his head up and finds the spare man, Drayden Kelly. He takes a heavy touch forward and takes the space afforded to him. Fong. Curving pass around the corner. Saya Kambiashi. First time cross is deflected. APIA get yet another corner. And he had his mind about going quickly, potentially, did Saya Kambiashi. And instead allow Sean Simmons to make the long journey, as you can see on screen, from left to right side for that lovely in-swinging left-footed delivery that APIA love to try and capitalise on.
And no doubt allow Drayden Kelly make his way from the back into the box. Tomlich man marking Drayden Kelly now. It's probably a decent matchup.
Two of the tallest pieces of timber out there. As Simmons, a good ball in, a bit deeper this time for Ortiz. It's still alive here for APIA. Janjetovic comes good and clear, and Drayden Kelly has another one. Goals in back-to-back weeks for Drayden Kelly, and this time he gives APIA the lead just before the half-time break. Make that 3 in the Australian Championship for the towering central defender. As we have a look at the replay, Perko, this time APIA was a knockdown. Janjetovic goes up for it, almost cleared it, but couldn't do so. And Kelly was Johnny on the spot to finish from close range.
Yeah, Janjetovic gets hands on it. He never really had a grasp of the ball, did he? Disappointing way for Sydney United to concede right just before half-time. Very, very soft goal indeed to concede. Janjetovic felt like he was fouled. From that replay, didn't look like he really had a grasp of the ball. Drayden Kelly had every right to contest for it. And on the free,
strong challenge. As 1 minute of added time goes up and all that chaos in the box, and Drayden Kelly continues his scoring streak. He had 4 goals all NPL season, and now he has 3 in the Australian Championship. Here is Caspers and Fong out wide with Saya Kambiashi as APIA work their way out of a tight corner. And Jack Stewart is hanging around and is all over the back of Koya Nakano, and Vedran Janjetovic is right there. And while those two don't seem particularly comfortable with each other, and Vedran and Jack Stewart aren't on the best of terms, and now some more parties come to intervene.
Bit of argy-bargy.
And we said that these are two teams that are more than familiar with each other. 4th time they've played each other this season. They've played in some big games. They've played in some Waratah Cup finals, some New South Wales NPL finals games as well. And Jack Stewart doesn't do himself any favours here, I would say.
Yeah, Encano gets in front of his man well. Felt like Jack Stewart just running too fast and just tumbled over.
Sports Centre, APIA 2 lead Sydney United.
So that's half-time here at the Sydney United Sports Centre. West APIA lead 2-1 after Drayden Kelly got one just before the break. Saya Kambiashi getting on the score sheet a little earlier. And then it would be Michael Krislovic who would equalise. So at half-time here at the Sydney United Sports Centre, it's Sydney United 1, West APIA 2.
Who's the next star in the Socceroo incubator at Adenza Park? There's no honour roll quite like the one at Sydney United. Arnold, Bosnich, Trulina, Jedinak, Kalatz, Slater, Strilic, Popovic, among so many more.
And 1-0 to Sydney United. The goal scorer, the captain, Tony Popovic.
But as proud as the past is at Sydney United, don't overlook a modern power. Twice they won the NPL National Finals, and they were the first NPL team to make an Australia Cup final.
Roberts, again, it's clever play. Shafiro! Oh, what a goal! Sydney United are into the final.
No club might be better informed of what it will take to win the Australian Championship. West's APIA, the new name for a re-emerging football power. But what's the story behind it? APIA is synonymous with the Inner West, from Lambert Park to Leichhardt Oval. When they get a shot on the national stage, these guys win. From an NSL championship in the 80s to cup sets in the 21st century. APIAs are arguably the best of them.
Diaz spots Margos off his line. It's an absolute stunner from Tynan Diaz.
So the West's APIA name is about buying in for a bright future, continuing the legacy that's seen so much success.
Takes the ball again after Sakia getting around his man. Oh, it's 2! A thunderous finish.
And there's been a space cleared in the Joe Marston Pavilion for what the club hopes will be its next trophy. The trophy handed out for winning the Australian Championship.
Football's back home. It'll be great to be on SBS again.
It's going to definitely give the Australian Championship a massive, massive platform.
You're not just showcasing yourself on YouTube or anything anymore. It's SBS, it's massive.
It's great that it's going to be live free there. It's great exposure.
Every player want to be in TV, and I think that's really good for the people in Australia.
Now I can tell all my siblings I just tell them to turn on SBS and watch me there.
It's the best thing to happen to football in Australia in a very long time.
It's integral to all these clubs and fans and players to have
the game's broadcasted live.
That's where you want to be on free to air. It's SBS. Everyone watches it.
To have football back on, I guess, the main stage of where it all started, it's exciting. It's a great opportunity for the whole of Australia to watch.
You never know what's going to happen.
We just hope that we can do this code proud.
For every football lover in Australia, you know, when you hear the SBS, you think about football.
I grew up with watching the World Game on SBS.
On Sunday from first thing in the morning, all day football.
I was an avid follower of the Captain Socceroos, Johnny Warren.
Craig Foster, Les Murray days, you can't forget it.
All the iconic moments in football have been on SBS.
SBS was the home of football, so it's great that we're back there.
So that's how the first half shaped out here at Sydney United Sports Centre in Adensa Park. The crowd have come in to see what may be Sydney United 58's last home game of the season. And as the teams walked out, David Perkovic, we saw a very intriguing first 45 minutes as we take a look at the highlights. First couple of chances going the way of United. Krislovic made himself a real presence early, and that would be a theme that would continue. As APIA and Drayden Kelly, another theme that would continue with him getting on the end of set pieces. But from what we saw, do we feel that the 2-1 is a deserved scoreline for West APIA?
Not so sure about that, but Sydney United have been a little bit poor on set pieces in this competition so far defensively. So always going to be a threat, APIA. If you give them too many opportunities on those set pieces, they're always going to be a threat.
So there's that first goal for Saya Kambiashi. He's off the mark in the Australian Championship. The man that scored 8 in the NPL season, is now on the board on the national stage. And it wouldn't take long for United to respond. Michael Krislovic on the end of that Aiden Milicevic cross. Two young guns linking up there to give United a glimmer of hope in the first half, but things would ultimately turn against them as Simmons, Kambiashi would combine. Saya got so close to his second, and United again were close to a second of their own. Chimenti on the header. Coco tried to direct it, but it shows that United are in this game. But this would ultimately be their undoing at the end of the first half. Janjetovic goes to clear it, doesn't get a full set of hands to it. And who else but Drayden Kelly to touch in his third of the campaign. So there are the halftime stats. No surprises with APIA racking up more shots. But Sydney United have shown that they're more than capable.
Yeah, Sydney United have most of their opportunities have come off those set pieces. But as you can see here, APIA dominating on the shot count, 11-4. And like I said, Sydney United need to be a little bit more aggressive defensively in their own half, just to not allow so much pressure on their own box. Because with APIA's attack, you give them enough opportunities, they are going to convert.
Let's take a look at how things have been shaping up from the rest of the competition, just away from this game, as you can see the players warming up in the background. So that's the results from last week, which have us coming into this week. The important games are West APIA 1-all with Metro Stars and Bayswater City 3-2 over Sydney United 58. But we had some high-scoring games across the round, and this is just one of many to come in round 5, with the finals picture becoming clearer and clearer, with South Melbourne having already locked up their spot and teams like Heidelberg having their eyes on a top spot of their own. This was how things shaped up in Group A in the Hellenic Derby. Ali Orglar, a lovely solo goal, turns his defender inside and out to open the scoring for Sydney Olympic, but it wouldn't be all smiles at Jubilee Stadium in Kogarah, because South Melbourne would show their quality in the end and come away with a 2-1 win. Here is Moreton City showing their class as well over Broadmeadow, which has them in the fight with a potential progression spot in Group A. With a heavy 5-1 win at Perry Park. A great day out of football there for the fans, seeing Moreton City finally get their attack in full flow, which they have threatened to do so on a number of occasions. Here is Jason Romero, who has been finding form as of late too. This time it's at Christie Park against Spirit FC. Top of the box, if you don't mind, for Jason Romero, as Preston would continue their push for a top 2 spot, currently sitting second in that group, just behind Avondale. There's the other game in this group, in Group C. Vucetic would get on the score sheet for Canberra, Croatia as a consolation goal late, but Avondale, with all the attack they possess, have shown why they're a real force in this competition and shown why they are top of the group. But Vucetic, a very nice strike on his way out to give the Croatia fans something to be happy about. This one from Simon Nicholas, another great goal in a similar position with his team trailing. Didn't get to celebrate it all that much. It was a great strike nonetheless. Here he is 20 plus yards out on the left foot, top corner, off the bottom of the bar. But it wouldn't be enough for Spirit. It would go down in the end to Preston Lions. They're still in the hunt there in that particular group. So here is how things are shaping up across the country, across our 4 groups. South Melbourne have locked up their progression spot. They have their eyes on being first in their group. Heidelberg also have their eyes on potentially progressing this week. A win against Wolves at Olympic Village will do just that. Meanwhile, in Group C, it's all to play for with that second spot in particular. Spirit not out of it just yet, as they are just goal difference behind Preston Lions. But this group is the one that we care about. Group D, as West APIA on the live ladder, currently goal difference clear of Bayswater, who will play Metro Stars this weekend. So we'll take you through the rest of the games for the weekend as we shape up how your weekend on SBS On Demand and the Football Australia YouTube channel looks like. Here we are at Adenza Park. Tomorrow we give you Sydney Olympic and Moreton City Excelsior and South Melbourne and Broadmeadow Magic in a huge day where we'll find out a lot about who will be going forward in Group A. And then of those games on Sunday, Perko, which one's your pick of the bunch?
Well, I think the Avondale's NWS Spirit game is going to be an interesting game, but also the Metro Stars versus Bayswater is the 2 games that I think is going to be quite interesting. To be honest, all these games are looking quite good. Even Heidelberg, Wollongong all to play for. Definitely need to get a result at Heidelberg, and the Heidelberg win would all but get them into the playoff rounds.
So all to play for this weekend. We go back with more action from Adenza Park very shortly. We'll see you back soon on the other side of this quick break. And so we bring you live pictures again from Adenza Park, as there is Saya Kambiashi, the man that scored the opener for West APIA, but it is all set very nicely for this second half. And Perko, Sydney United 58 find themselves behind at home. If they're to get back in this one, what's the key to success?
They need to come out strong. They need to come out aggressive. They need to surprise APIA and take the game to them. They can't just sit on their box line and expect to get something against the run of play. They need to really come at APIA. They've got nothing to lose, so hopefully they can come out with the right attitude, the right mentality.
So Bailey Rule and Aidan Milicevic having a bit of a discussion on screen. Those two were lively in the first half. Janjetovic in discussions with his right fullback now as well. And Milicevic and Koko were really, I think, providing a lot of width, providing a lot of attacking power going forward, as it looks like United might be set to make a change at the break. So it'll be Michael Protezina. He will make his way on in place of Michael Krislovic. Now, Krislovic has Sydney United's sole goal today. Protezina has goal scoring in him. What do you make of that change, Perko, at the break?
A little bit surprised, to be honest. Obviously, Krislovic got the goal and he's been busy in that first half. Maybe a slight injury or something has ruled him out from playing in the second half, because I think he's been a bright spot in Sydney United's attack.
He was everywhere through that first half. His battles with Drayden Kelly were a real feature in the attacking third, as we are back underway here at the Sydney United Sports Centre. West APIA holding a slim advantage, which they took just before the break, courtesy of Drayden Kelly, his third goal in the Australian Championship, as Stewart, looking to get back to it for West APIA, only finds the hands of Vedran Janjetovic. I have been disappointed, as you mentioned, Perko, with the way they conceded, especially with how many set pieces they were able to defend, as Rose is well tracked by Simmons. I mean, not much progress on that occasion. The former Sydney FC Academy man, 29 appearances for him throughout the campaign for the Sydney FC NPL side. Only scored the one goal, but it was in the final game of the season, so we got there just about. But comes to Sydney United 58 with, again, big shoes to fill. A lot of these youngsters replacing more experienced heads. And players like Michael Krislovic have taken that with both hands, but now they'll have to do it without him.
Yeah, the good thing about being a youngster and having low expectations now, given how they've started this competition and where they sit in this game, they've really got nothing to lose. So they might as well just go for it. So that's what I expect from Sydney United. Really release the shackles and go after APIA. Like I said, they've got nothing to lose. They're trailing in this game. They really need to go after it. Nothing but a win will be good enough for their chances to potentially progress. So let's see how the start of this half transpires.
Kelly has it brought down to his feet. Koko will think about pressing Kalatz, and now he'll do so. Kalatz on his left footers, turns it over here to Milicevic, and United might fancy their chances from here. Cimenti, quick check of the shoulder. Ozanic. Tillo, a good ball forward. Milicevic is in the area, looking for that shooting angle, still twisting and turning, and is eventually shown the goal line by Sean Simmons.
Not a bad start there on the front foot, Sydney United.
It's not the first time that they've caught West APIA out with that press. I think they might have clued into that a little bit maybe at halftime. Ante Juric perhaps sensing that that might be a potential weakness of West APIA. As Kuda, this time they go direct immediately. Asks Jack Stewart to try and work with that, but easily shepherded out of play. And Kuda, you can see, was not too pleased with how he found that pass forward. A man with lofty standards is Michael Kuda, the futsal Roo. Was the best player in the grand final, as voted by NPL media. Moved to APIA's championship victory. His sixth season at the club. He's one of these few key players that APIA have built their squad around, as again United turn it over, or forced to turn over, should I say. Koko is the man out on the wing. Kelly is in pursuit. Farah Koko wants it on that right foot. Now is with Protezina and Rose. United playing with more confidence still. Tillo through the tight spaces. Protezina. Too many black and white jerseys ahead, but it's again one back by United. Protezina. Kelly, very strong in defence. Again, still on that booking. The only player on a yellow card right now is Drayden Kelly. And Sydney United have a throw in deep in attacking territory.
Good thing there was about Sydney United, as soon as they lose the ball, they had numbers around the ball to try and win it back. This builds pressure on the opposition. As you can see there, Franco Baresi biting his nails, not liking what he sees so far in these first opening minutes of the half.
message, if I have to predict, would be Franco Parisi would not be happy with just the 1-goal advantage, sensing that things can turn very quickly against a side like Sydney United that have these goals in them. Coco, top of the box here. Oh, Aidan Milicevic was waiting for that pass as Sean Simmons puts it deep into the corner. It forces Janjetovic out of his box and has to clear with his feet. And for a brief moment, you could see Aidan Milicevic was waiting for that touch to open up. As Ante Juric retreats to his bench, but he'll no doubt be pleased with how his side have started this one.
Not sure if Janjetovic should have come out for that, because Encano was clearly going to get to the ball first. If he stayed near his goal, Encano could have got that under control and passed it to him, and they could have played out. But
APIA.
Safety first, I guess.
Safety first again from United as they clear their lines, and this might fall kindly potentially for Chimenti, as Kelly, that time the outside of the foot touch, easily enough for Michael Kuda. Again, they try that crossfield switch, and this time it's better. Kambiashi bringing it down, top of the box, and skewed wide away from goal. But again, Seiya Kambiashi has been, I think, as involved in any game he has been this Australian Championship. A lot of other players have been more involved. As we take a look at the who you think will win poll, it's made a 2% movement on the day, with maybe impacted by United's goal, but more than 2/3 of you at home think that West Apia are going to take this one out as it stands. And you can still vote with that QR code if you like. Kelly, Coco tried to shut down that pass, but eventually Kelly finds the man he wanted in Cameron Fong. He'll slow things down from their perspective and try and regain a foothold, which United have started the second half very brightly. Monge moving it promptly. Simmons, a familiar pass forward. Stewart is on the end of it this time, trying a back post. It might still fall kindly here for Farinella.
Some nice little balling behind by Sean Simmons there. His experience, got the weight of the pass right, created some problems for the Sydney United defence. They got away with it this time. Let's see if we see any change in Sydney United in the way they defend in their own half.
Simmons had inverted centrally to try and add an extra number that time. Couldn't find the pass he wanted, but that combination between him and Jack Stewart has been bearing a lot of fruit so far for West Apia, as Janjetovic lumps it up top. Kyle Chimenti is the man he wants. Michael Kuda is the man who beats him in the air. Ortiz, good back to goal play with Farinella. Stewart is hoping it gets to him. Bailey Rule goes to ground and wins it very cleanly.
If anyone wonders why people play out of the back, that's probably a good leveler, and the reason why, just because you boot it up doesn't mean it can't come straight back to you as well. So it's about playing to your strengths.
Kambiashi, pass was intended for Farinella, but Nakano, his countryman, picks it up instead. And now things have shifted ever so slightly, Perko, with Apia having more of the ball, United having to sit back a little more than maybe they might want to.
Yeah, the opening few minutes, Sydney United had field positioning, a lot more possession, and good counter-pressing moments. It's kind of flipped on its head in the last few minutes, with Apia getting into a familiar state of play of this game, setting up in the opposition half, trying to orchestrate attacks.
Stewart looking to go one-on-one with his man Milicevic. Bailey Rule is right there as well, and he was waiting for Franco Farinella, that late arriving run into the box, which is a real feature of the young midfielder's game. A real breakout season for West Apia did Farinella, as Kambiashi tries to turn the corner. Rule is forced to clear, and for the time being, United will be camped out again in their own defensive half. Simmons. Kambiashi gets around the first defender. Rule goes to ground, and the referee, Jack Powers, I should say, waves it away. And as we take a look at the replay again, Seiya Kambiashi looking to put the step-overs on, beat Rule initially.
Jeez, I think Bailey Rule's really lucky there. I think that what saved him is maybe the heavy touch of Kambiashi. where the referee probably thought he wouldn't get the ball back. That doesn't mean he shouldn't have called it, but I think Bailey Rule escaped that one very much so.
Canby actually back on his feet. He was limping around a little bit. He's back on the ball now. He's playing more centrally than he did in the first half. I wonder if that's more of an instruction to get him involved as Stewart goes on an amazing run through midfield. Still has it, does Jack Stewart. If they can find the extra pass, they might have numbers wide. Presley Ortiz only sees red shirts ahead of him, tries to fashion an avenue to goal. Back out with Stewart. Very close for Vedran Janjetovic, but I think he might have had that covered and just let it roll away.
Sydney United's going to need to change something soon because they're just absorbing pressure, not asking any questions of the APIA defence in this last 5 or 6 minutes or so, probably a little bit more than that. And for them to stay alive in this competition, they need to flip this momentum on its head.
There's Anthony Tomilic surveying the options, uses his defences. There's that shot picture-in-picture from Stewart, was very close. And when APIA starts to move the ball around the edge of the box, Sydney United are doing well so far, but the pressure, as Metro Stars learned last week, will eventually pay off.
Nice football.
As United move through the lines, out wide with Farakoko. Here's Coco going at his man again, forces his defender to ground, and there's some suggestions of a foul. Instead, United will have to settle for a corner. APIA can't believe it's a goal kick, and I don't think any players are happy with the outcome in the end, as we see Farakoko go one-on-one with Cameron Fong, has the speed and the acceleration. And as Fong did just enough to stay out of the way.
It's always dangerous, as we saw with Bailey Rule going to ground in his own box, Fong on the opposite end. Always dangerous going down to ground as a defender.
Ball is put in centrally. Up there is Nakano. It's still there for Sydney United, not cleared. Ozanic back with Nakano. And Ozanic again couldn't wrap his foot around it.
Sydney United's most threatening moments have come off set pieces so far. Their opening goal come off a set piece. And APIA failing to deal with that corner should give Sydney United some confidence as we see them set up high for this goal kick.
A couple of bites at the cherry there for young Tommy Ozanic, the 17-year-old who made his first grade debut just 11 weeks ago in round 27 of the NPL New South Wales season, and he's been filling in for Carlos de Oliveira in midfield. I'll get your thoughts on that in just a moment, Perko, in the next break in play. As Sydney United go back and forth, it's with Milicevic. There's the young man, Ozanic. Good turn in midfield. Passes errant and just finds Kelly instead. Now Kambiashi has got on the other side of his other number 2, Gabriel Tillo. Saya Kambiashi bearing down, goes to ground, and that time it's shoulder to shoulder, says our man Jack Powers.
Good defending from the young man.
Dejana. Farinella mopping that up defensively. Monge. Here's Stewart. He's had more and more success as the game has gone on, especially in the second half. He's been more involved, I think, than the first. Kelly decides to take it forward himself. Fong crosses into the box, but only cleared away by Nakano. United don't clear their 9 lines initially. Still there for Fabian Monge. Eventually they work it out with Milicevic. Dejana. It's back and forth right now, but United finding not much success in meaningfully clearing the ball as Ozanic goes in strongly. This will favour APIA. They'll love seeing Saya Kambiashi on the ball like this. Monge.
APIA doing very, very well to string passes together to force Sydney United to take pressure off the ball. Sydney United have got to find moments where they can and not allow moments like this to happen.
Farinella with a strike, blocked away only as far as Stewart, and then a more meaningful clearance by United, but it's only coming back again with another wave of West's APIA attack. Simmons, more direct this time. Presley Ortiz is leaking out the back post. And that time it's onto the chest of Chimenti, but he has it all to do and can't do much with the lack of support offered to him. As Rule and Milicevic will just calm things down from their perspective. Given away though, Caspers, here it is with Ortiz. He can find a strike potentially. And Koya Nakano with a last-ditch effort saving the day because Presley Ortiz was thinking about winding up.
Once again, Sydney United losing the ball in a critical area of the field, creating an opportunity for APIA. Ortiz will be disappointed with himself. A striker of his calibre would have liked to get something meaningfully off that opportunity. But it sets up, once again, another set piece, which we've already seen 2 goals today from.
Franco Parisi watching on. I think he might have looked back towards his bench. Could be a substitution coming. We'll keep all eyes on that for you. And Sean Simmons, meanwhile, is standing over this corner. Another one for West Apia. Simmons, a good ball in towards the near post. It was dangerous. Back out it goes to Monge. Before eventually United say anywhere will do, and it'll bounce all the way back down with Fong heading it for his keeper, Ollie Kalatz. West Apia have been good on their travels throughout the NPL season in New South Wales. They actually had the equal most amount of away wins with 10. So they like travelling within Sydney. Interstate has been harder with that loss to Bayswater. But the beauty of their draw has been that they haven't had to leave Sydney for rounds 4 to 6. Played at home last week against Metro Stars, play at home next week against Bayswater. And for their sake, they'll hope they play at home again in the quarterfinals. Another goal will go a long way to doing that. Kambiyashi, Caspers. Simmons is into the attack, almost all 11 forward here for West Apia. Sean Simmons onto the right foot. This time it's over. But again, Apia are starting to really threaten, as they might be going to the bench very shortly.
Yeah, Apia just asking more questions, turning the screw a little bit more with each attack.
So change each way. Looks like Carl Chimenti's afternoon comes to an early end. A like-for-like swap at the top of the attack with Marco Arambasic replacing him. Ayuka Mo will also replace Farakoko. So fresh legs now in the final third for Ante Juric. Meanwhile, a double change for West Apia with Yaya El Hindi and Rory Jordan coming on in place of Jack Stewart and Franco Farinella. So a double change each way, Perko. From a Sydney United perspective, what do you make of the new attackers going in there?
I think both coaches are showing their intention. Sydney United got to get back into this game, freshening up their attack. At the same time, Apia want to kill off this game, scoring the next goal. Obviously, next goal is going to be critical in this game. It's either going to go in the balance or Apia will get a buffer zone. And as we know, goals change games. So we're looking forward to seeing who's the next goal scorer.
Very surprising to see this game end at 2-1, given how open it has been at times. As Mo is now on that far side, replacing Farakoko. His first involvement is to try and shut down Seiya Kambiyashi. There he is, the man on screen, Ayuk Mo. Signed from the Central Coast Academy, another young signing for United to work with for this championship. Actually played his youth at Sydney United 58, so knows Adenza Park very well.
Good opportunity for young guys to make a moment for themselves in this game.
But Dejana couldn't find the striking angle that time. As Rory Jordan is looking over the top of Bailey Rule as Tomalic chips the pass over for him. Rule will be under pressure.
Does well there.
Good football by United. Protejina has options towards his left. He's looking for someone in support, finds Tillo. Gabriel Tillo. Up to the other fullback, Bailey Rule, a curving and swinging ball in. Aaron Basic tried to angle the header. Milicevic through traffic. It was only going one way, and that was back towards the United defence. And now United, with the benefit of those changes, have some new options further forward. And Aaron Basic and Ayuk Mo have already gotten involved, and Protejina is now fully accustomed to the game. Here he is in possession. The commentator's curse strikes as he turns it over. Kalatz had to be careful. Ayuk Mo was pressing.
Game's coming in a little bit more open now.
Apia were confused, and Tillo benefits from that confusion. Rose. Ozanic. Monge had read that pass well and got away from the slide tackle, but United finding more and more.
Starting to do what Apia does well, pinning the defence of the opposition on the 18-yard box. resorting to outlet passes.
Nakano with Ortiz right there, decides to send it over the sideline, and we take a look back at the replay of that just a moment ago with Protezina looking for this pass in behind. The intent is there, and Ayuk Mo was very, very close, maybe a couple steps behind, maybe catching out Kalatz, who gave him a bit extra, and well, those two. I mean, Ayuk Mo's been on the pitch all of 2 minutes, and no doubt the instructions would have been to really get involved early, and he's made his presence felt.
Yeah. Going back to your earlier question about...
I was going to go back to that, yes.
De Oliveira, seeing that he hasn't come on at this point, I suspect there must be some sort of niggly injury, because obviously Sydney United have got a very, very young squad. They're relying on senior players, and he's definitely one of those senior players now in this United team. It was a strange omission from the starting lineup, and given his not being able to come on so far in this game, indicates to me that there's probably a problem with him. Because I can definitely, if he's fit and available to contribute.
Things might be tricky here for Ozanic. He's going to pick up the booking, but there's just two players going in at the same time. And the young 17-year-old who we've just spoken about goes into the referee's book. I think APIA are making a double change in the process. So we spoke about Gabriel Tillo being the second youngest player in the Australian Championship. The youngest is about to come on. Young Max Court at 16 years, 9 months and a day in round one. The youngest player to play in the Australian Championship. So he will replace Fabian Monge like for like in midfield. Now this is an interesting change with Alex Denmead coming on. We'll wait to see who he's replaced. I think they might have gone off on the far side. And it looks like we'll wait for who exactly it is as the APIA midfield shakes out a little more. But again, more attacking-minded substitutions from West APIA, bringing on Alex Denmead, who's been their backup striker all season behind Presley Ortiz, bringing on Max Court, who's a young player that likes to go forward.
I believe he's going away with the national team very soon with the 17s.
He is, yes. He has been selected for the 17s. And a story that came out last week in the Australian from Marco Monteverde is that he's being courted by the Vietnamese national team. Here he is, Max Court. Still Max Court. Could have put his name up in lights there and really made a case for himself, and, well, wasted not much time in trying to put his name onto the score sheet.
Yeah, with now Ozanic being on a yellow card, if there's nothing wrong with De Oliveira, you would expect him to come on shortly, try and get something out of this game.
It looks like Presley Ortiz is the man that has come off for Alex Denmead. So striker for striker, that's a familiar change that West APIA fans will be used to. Denmead played behind Ortiz throughout the season. As United try and move it forward here. El Hindi stepping in. That time they're able to get around him, and that's good from Michael Protezina. And even better if he can find the pass. Here is Gabriel Tillo cutting it back. Ayuk Mo on his left. And West APIA feel that it shouldn't be a corner, but it starts again with the substitutes. Michael Protezina and Ayuk Mo have linked up there on that left-hand side, not for the first time since they've been introduced.
Yeah, now APIA have to deal with another set piece, which they'll be nervous about. They've conceded already tonight from one of those, so let's see what United can conjure up from this set piece.
Just over 20 minutes remaining here at the Sydney United Sports Centre. Sydney United's chances of getting forward are slim in this group, but they'll need a goal soon. Back post. Koya Nakano's there on the header, onto the thighs of Drayden Kelly, who copped a bit extra in the challenge from Anthony Tomalich. As the experienced now defender, usually a midfielder, just walks away from that, tries to avoid a further booking.
Yeah, I think both teams are getting a little bit nervous now, especially APIA, I would suggest, because Sydney United at this scoreline have nothing to lose. APIA getting a little bit nervous there in front. They will definitely want to kill off the game with another goal. But how much do they overcommit to try and get that next goal and not leave themselves vulnerable in the back?
So it looks like Drayden Kelly is in need of some shin pads, actually, I think.
Denmead.
Denmead was the one that needed his shin pads. Might have just come on without them, or maybe need some tape to keep them on. As Kambiashi is right there with Ayukmo, as the fans have given it to young Alex Denmead on our effects mic about his shin pads. The beauty of the Sydney United Sports Centre, the crowd is right on top of you there on the sideline. There is Denmead, shin pads on him now, and that time he wins the foul.
Lucky he had his shin pads.
As Fong chips a nice ball in. That's something that APIA have consistently gone to with their wing-backs, trying to play around the back four of Sydney United 58. When they love a goal here, West APIA, just to calm things down a little bit.
Really set themselves up the win entering the final 20 minutes of regular time. If they can get a buffer, they'll be very, very comfortable going into the tail end of this game.
So all numbers in the box. Kambiashi sets his run up, puts a deep swerving ball in. Kelly was the target again. It might still be there for Kuda. And he briefly thought about a half volley before United slammed the door shut on that opportunity. Jordan Ozanic is right there on the press. APIA go forward again in search of Saya Kambiashi. It's allowed to bounce to his benefit. Kambiashi held up in the corner, has all the work to do from this position, might do well to win himself a corner, and does exactly that.
Experience of Kambiashi there. Saw himself tied into a corner from the defender. Defender putting enough pressure. He just knew if he kicked it into him, he'll either win a corner or a throw in. Best case scenario resulted there with a corner.
Carl Chimenti and Farakoko now watching from the sidelines, seeing the replacements try and do the job. Both were in the game. Fresh legs is what Ante Juric has put into this game. Simmons over this corner again. He's had plenty of corner practice in this game, has Sean Simmons. Tries the near post option, and well, that's probably the easiest piece of work Janjetovic has done. And now there's a bit of push and shove inside the 6-yard box. It's been threatening to do this all game. Michael Kuda and Vedran Janjetovic are at the center of it. And after some chirpy incidents during this game, it's taken 72 minutes, and now we have our first full coming together of the evening, and Jack Powers has a bit of housekeeping to do here. Michael Kuda and Anthony Tomalich, they've seen plenty of each other through the years, and Bailey Rule is at the center of it. He's been involved a little bit. And so Jack Powers has a bit of work to do here. We'll see what he goes with. It looks like it'll be a yellow card.
Probably both ways, I would suggest.
Kuda, one for Kuda, one for Rule, and that's the end to that. And they're both still up trying to argue their case. They're both fullbacks, of course. You can see to the left of your screen what's happening between the two. Kuda and Rule, well, they were just all up in each other's
Nakano,
group.
and then Rule came over.
Oh, it was, yes. So Nakano and Rule and Kuda were all tangled up, and then Bailey Rule was in his... He will say he was defending his teammate. The referee will say he was instigating.
A little tip for coaches out there. Always encourage your players to grab your own players and take them away, because you can't get a yellow card for pushing your own player.
That time it was Rule who pushed Kuda. And easy enough for Jack Powers as Milicevic. Play resumes. El Hindi now into midfield, having replaced.
Good changeover of possession. Could conjure up a quality attack here. Let's see what United can deliver.
Tillo off the thighs of Kelly, had to keep his hands out of his way and did that. A long throw may be coming for Sydney United 58. What can they work with here? Reminder that as the game goes on, more players starting to tick towards yellow cards. United in search of an important goal, maybe to play spoiler on West Apia's finals hopes, as well as trying to keep their own alive. Aaron Basic.
Offside.
His flag is up against him. Assistant on the near side, Aaron Bloch.
Just got caught on the wrong side of Drayden Kelly there, which put him in an offside position. But the good thing about having Aaron Basic up top is a presence. Can get into a physical battle with the two central defenders, can definitely pin them down. So therefore, the midfield might have a little bit more space.
Court has been lively since coming on. They will be impressed with his contributions. The youngster who made his debut at just 15 years of age in NPL first grade last season. now a part of the under-17s, as mentioned, and is now part of this squad trying to get this victory. Here is Court, tried his luck and couldn't keep his head over the ball that time.
Really like seeing a young player take an opportunity, take the initiative, receiving the ball on the edge of the box, one touch, firing a shot off on goal. That time he didn't get it on target, but no doubt he'll find his range, and given another opportunity, I'm sure he'll improve.
So another change for Sydney United 58, and this might prompt a bit of a reshuffle with Rose having come off. He's been replaced by Adrian Canez, and it looks like Koya Nakano has now gone into the base of midfield and Canez has gone to the back in his place. So Ante Juric has pushed Nakano further forward. You can see him there in that number 4 jersey, receiving it off Tomalic in a more advanced role. We'll see if that shifts United's approach. Ozanic. Now with Canez, his first touches. Tillo, shut down. Caspers and Kambiashi on the far side. They can't quite keep it with themselves as Kelly is dispossessed. If United can keep the ball in here, they have a good opportunity at going forward, but they just ran out of real estate on that far side. But the game is really starting to be in a very tense position at the moment, David Kokovic.
Yeah, it's getting nervous for APIA. The deeper this game goes, the more nervous they'll get. They'll definitely expect 3 points from this game, even though they're away from home. But Sydney United haven't had a win so far.
And now it's Ayuk Mo and Yaya El Hindi's turn to come together.
Tensions are rising.
They certainly are, and now El Hindi, whilst not on a booking in this game, well, Ante Juric doesn't seem too concerned about what's going on. He's just had a bit of a wry smile to himself, and El Hindi has just come on. Now he's on 2 bookings for the championship. Now a 3rd booking would mean he would miss their next game. The rules in the Australian Championship are that if you have 3 bookings in the group stage, that's an automatic suspension for the next game, which of course will reset once we reach finals. And now it's still going in back play as we take a look at the replay. It was really something out of nothing with Mo and El Hindi. Meanwhile, Vedran Janjetovic has been booked for joining the crowd all the way from the back. As I think Jack Powers is just trying to keep a lid on proceedings here. So El Hindi will be booked. He will miss their next game. And Ayuk Mo has also been booked, and they're still talking about it. Gabriel Tillo and Tommy Ozanic have had to come between them here. And it's right in front of where the crowd is as well.
Yaya should be more disciplined in this manner. APIA winning 2-1. And now he's suspended for the next game, and he's still mouthing off after receiving that yellow card. Got to be very careful here.
Yeah, well, APIA will be wary of that. I mean, they've already lost Dom Costanzo. He's going to be missing their next game as well. And whilst they do have the overall depth, I think Franco Parisi will want to avoid any unnecessary suspensions, and more so in this game. So Janjetovic on screen, he's got the booking as well.
And let's not forget Drayden Kelly's on a yellow card from early in the match as well.
Yes, he's been on a yellow card since the 10th minute. And he's yet to show any signs of being substituted just yet. As El Hindi is just, I think, receiving a more stern talking to by Jack Powers about the rest of this game and how it's going to play out. El Hindi, of course, capped 4 times for the Lebanese national team. Now it's Mo. An inverted touch falls his way. Overhit cross. Aaron Basic will try and chase this down. Rule is also right there on the touch of Rory Jordan, and United have won it back in a good position. Rule floating, searching ball. Ayuk Mo goes from one side to the other. There he is, Mo, trying to free himself of Fong.
Need a little bit more movement in that Sydney United attack.
Aaron Basic is the target man. Now he has it with his back to goal. Can he turn and find the shot? Here is Aaron Basic. Couldn't sort his feet out, was off balance. And again, Sydney United 58 in the box. Can't find a clean look at goal. But they have just continuously reminded West APIA that they are still hanging in. Meanwhile, West APIA have thoughts of a goal of their own. Denmead. Tomalic is giving chase and will get there ahead of him and will smartly shepherd it out of play.
This is what I was talking about earlier, about the presence of Aaron Basic up top can be a problem. for defences because his presence can, if he gets his body right in a good position, he can protect the ball, and that ball idling in the box is just waiting for someone to bury it into the APIA goal. Not on that occasion, but no doubt APIA will be getting more and more nervous as this game comes further and further without a buffer goal. So we had a couple more substitutions come in.
So this is an interesting one, Perko. We hinted that we might see Patrick Flotman come into this game, but it's actually for Michael Kuda, who's the central defender that's not on a booking. So Drayden Kelly remains out there. He's now partnering with Patrick Flotman in defence. And Maxim Kasalovic has also come on in midfield. We'll get confirmation of that substitution as well. So APIA with a couple more sets of fresh legs. They now have all their outfield players from the bench onto the field. Meanwhile, United still have Mark Leonard and Carlos de Oliveira as their outfield players on the bench.
Yeah, I think obviously Drayden Kelly, whilst being on a yellow card, he has been disciplined so far for the rest of this match so far. And Flotman being another tall presence could be a presence on set pieces as well, where APIA has looked threatening as well.
Great touches by Sean Simmons there, under pressure, just brought it down. And, even as Kelly's out there, as much for his defence, he's also as likely as anyone to go on and score a third here.
It was almost like Sean Simmons says, pressure? What pressure? Look at this.
All that experience there from Sean Simmons, a favourite son of APIA. He's been at the club since 2013. So no doubt takes great pride in captaining the side in the Australian Championship. Has a goal to his name as well in this competition. Here is Ayuk Mo and El Hindi, those two keeping tabs on each other, this time in much friendlier circumstances.
I expect Sydney United to start throwing the kitchen sink at APIA. They've got nothing to lose, trailing the game in the last 10 minutes.
Great pass by Denmead to find the spare man out wide. It's Fong. Caspers is the wide option again. It's going to get onto the head of Eddie Caspers. Back centrally for Jordan, and the pass just evaded him as he was thinking about a third and sealing all 3 points for West Apia. Meanwhile, Nakano and United can go down the other end. And Basic is the man they want, but the offside flag will deny him. And so with just over 8 minutes plus stoppages to go, United will go back to the bench again. So this time we do see Carlos de Oliveira, the number 10. He'll be replacing number 19, Adam Milicevic. So a like-for-like swap in midfield, creative midfielder for creative midfielder. And if there is a man that knows how to create goals for his team, it is the Sydney United 58 Player of the Season, Carlos de Oliveira. So he gets about 10 minutes or so to try and salvage something from this game for United.
It's been a while since Carlos de Oliveira picked up the winger position in recent years. Looks like he's picked up that position for the rest of his game. I don't mind it, to be honest. He can be quite aggressive in a 1v1 situation. So up against a tiring Sean Simmons could be a good idea from Ante Juric.
Another great pass for Sean Simmons. This time it's Caspers on the end of it. Caspers continues his press and is trying to keep this ball in and has done exceptionally well to maybe win himself a throw-in, which he thought he had, but the last touch was off him on the way through as Jack Powers wasn't going to reward his pressing effort.
That was a bit harsh. I didn't see anything wrong with that.
De Oliveira knocks it short before Rule locks it up for Aaron Basic, him and Flotman in the air. If there's a man that can contend with Flotman and Kelly in terms of height and aerial prowess, it's Marco Aaron Basic. No doubt that's what he's out there to do. As United have their eyes on an 18-yard box onslaught in these final stages. Cries of handball. Play continues, though, with El Hindi, the maybe infringing party. He gets away with it this time, though. Here is Knez.
APIA's got to be careful that they just don't sit and try and protect this lead in the last phase of the game.
Good hold up by Aaron Basic. It leaves a brief hole, which is eventually plugged. A good pass for the penalty spot, but that was where Marco Aaron Basic usually would have been, had it not been for him dropping to hold it up just a moment ago.
You would expect once the 9 holding up the ball that you will see the 10 running in behind. Not on that occasion, unfortunately, for Sydney United. But they still have the ball. I was going to say they still have the ball in the opposition half until Yaya wins the ball.
El Hindi taking over in midfield. Commentators curse striking there as West APIA. Keeping possession will be important for them and just trying to slow the play down. Now, meanwhile, looks like we have an injury in back play. It's the youngster, the 17-year-old midfielder, Tomislav Ozanic. And a rare senior start for him. I wonder if this prompts United towards the bench. Now, the only man on the bench is Mark Leonard.
Looks like he's starting to cramp up. He hasn't played a 90-minute game in this tournament so far.
He hasn't, and whilst he has done very well for himself in very difficult circumstances, has young Tommy Ozanic. I think it's just the legs of senior football maybe getting the better of the teenager there. But no doubt United fans will be very pleased with what he's shown in this game, and must have a lot of these young players, despite the results at an individual level, have shown that there are kids coming through this team. Tillo
some very good kids too. They probably just have lacked the experience to guide those kids around in difficult circumstances.
Denmead searching for court, still maybe with Denmead. Two young forwards trying to link up, and APIA won't be in any particular hurry, you'd think, to take this throw. El Hindi is there on the far side. There is Ozanic, and well, he's trying to run off the cramp, and much to the cheer of Sydney United fans, you can always tell when a player has a cramp and they're trying to run it off. I think Ozanic is doing his best. He's got 4 minutes plus change remaining in this game to see this one out and maybe get back a goal. Simmons has it taken away from him. First time pass intended for Aaron Basic. It's over the defense, but Flotman recovers very well, as does Maxim Kasalovic.
Cool, experienced head there. Flotman dealing with that potential overpass.
As a long pass goes over the top. Court was the winger out there, but APIA won't be too disappointed to get the ball out of play and deep away from their own 18-yard box. We expected maybe a bit of an attacking onslaught from United, but it hasn't quite materialised just yet.
No, but I can't say that I've been overly impressed with APIA in this game. They haven't really taken it to United as I expected them to really consolidate their powerhouse nature that they would want to inflict on this competition. But as we've seen many times in the competitions like this, World Cup format, Old Champions League format, it's not necessarily how well you do in the group matches. You just got to get through it, qualify, and then the magic kind of happens after that. So no doubt they're growing into this tournament, getting away with results, and they're hoping to build more performances as it gets to the business end.
And as we briefly talk about the business end, so the quarterfinal picture looks like this potentially. If APIA were to finish second in this group, they would play away to most likely Heidelberg, who are topping Group B at the moment, or they would play away to Marconi if Marconi do end up topping the group, which looks unlikely. So finishing second, you're most likely looking at a Heidelberg away. If you finish first, you're most likely looking at a Marconi at home or a Wolves at home potentially. So avoiding Heidelberg away, I think, is really the key, because if there's a hard fixture on the list right now, I think it's probably Heidelberg away and maybe Bayswater away are the two teams that you don't want to play away right now.
Absolutely. I also think APIA's record in Melbourne hasn't been great in recent years. Earlier this season in the Australia Cup, they lost away in Melbourne. So I would expect them wanting to avoid that fixture, but if you're going to be the best, you've got to beat the best. So they're going to want to definitely improve on this performance in their final fixture and try to get more confidence going into those knockout rounds.
Absolutely, and that's what the Australian Championship's all about. And as we get to the final stages, you can see how things are shaping up on our fan vote poll. It's moved slightly back a little bit as the game has gone on. West APIA is still holding a very strong advantage with our viewers at home, and you can still have your final say if you scan the QR code on the fan poll.
No doubt those 31% thinks Sydney United will get a late equaliser, and it might come here through this set piece, which they've already scored from a set piece today.
They haven't had too many chances late in the stretch. What can they do with this one? Sydney United 58. In comes the delivery towards the near post. El Hindi has to head it clear. Rule puts it back into the mixer. As there is Rule, sorry, on the ball now as they've got an opportunity. Again, United. Protejina beats the first defender. Chips it in. Headed for Nakano. And almost back towards Kalatz. And he's able to bring it down with two arms and just slow things down. But United had a couple goes there. First at the direct corner and then at the second phase. APIA equal to the task, and I think Max Court might be thinking about the corner flag here potentially, with Tillo giving him a bit of chase. It'll just be a Sydney United goal kick. All eyes on the fourth official. 6 minutes of time added on. And I don't think there's too many surprises there, given the amount of subs and injuries and the rest of it, and all the comings together. Yes, of course.
Argy no doubt would have added to that injury time. Plenty of time for Sydney United to get an equaliser and plenty of time for APIA to consolidate a win.
So the score remains as it did at halftime. Right now it's Drayden Kelly's goal the difference. West APIA going forward with Caspers. El Hindi is up ahead of him. The pass is a little strong. Forces Knez to clear, but for APIA this is as good as what they want right now. A throw in, a chance to slow the game down, and a chance to just keep United away from their goal.
Knez obviously feeling like he had to deal with that and couldn't run it over the byline.
Court. As the drums start going, United fans trying to cheer their team on to the final few minutes. It might be the last time that United fans see their team at home in 2025 in a competitive fixture. If this result holds, and if all they can get is a draw, barring a miracle, that'll be the case. And on the live ladder right now, West APIA are ahead on goal difference of Bayswater, pending Bayswater's result against Metro Stars this weekend. No doubt plenty of West APIA fans will have their eyes on that game. Their eyes on this game for now. Caspers twisting and turning. They don't want to go directly forward here, APIA. They may be thinking about going wider instead. Still with Caspers and El Hindi. Kasalovic was in two minds about going for it. De Oliveira took over instead before Drayden Kelly, no nonsense, sends it back down towards Jordan, who couldn't keep it in despite his acrobatic effort.
He had to time that clearance really well. A late challenge there could have seen his night end early and miss the next game, being on a yellow card. He timed that perfectly well to deal with that.
He's had a great Australian Championship so far, has Drayden Kelly. Now United, how many more throws of the dice do they have? 4 minutes to go in additional time. Tillo is blocked away by Fong. Tillo, all eyes on this one for Sydney United 58. A few nervous faces around the grounds, hoping for their second set of points. Only just a point in this Australian Championship so far for this young United side, as Ozanic, who's already on a cramp, goes to ground. Well, that won't help the cramp, but it'll certainly help his team, because they've picked up a very handy free kick.
We've seen plenty of late goals in this competition so far. Are we going to see another one?
Well, we're no stranger to drama at the Sydney United Sports Centre, not just in this competition, but in the NPL. As Ozanic does really well there, just a leg left hanging by West APIA. And again, it's this position that United like, this corner situation, a little further in from the sideline.
No doubt Aaron Basic, Tomalic and Kano are the targets.
De Oliveira goes direct himself, tried to catch Kalatz out, but Kalatz was wiser to it and just tipped it over the bar as De Oliveira tried the spectacular from a tight angle. They get another corner here. Sydney United. Numbers are all around Ollie Kalatz. You can see they're in the 6-yard area. Here comes the cross. Can't beat Flotman at the near post.
It's another set piece.
Here is the onslaught that United fans have waited to see. De Oliveira, they go short immediately, and De Oliveira is tripped down in the process. They want to take it quickly here. Instead, they'll reset a little bit. De Oliveira goes back into the box after winning the free kick, and Michael Protejina will have to deliver. into the 95th minute of stoppage time now. Botezina, numbers again all around Kalat. It's a crowded 6-yard box right now for the former Sydney United custodian. Botezina, standing over, left-footed, low and driven. Tried to flick it on at the near post. APIA don't clear their lines. And a disappointing pass intended for Botezina goes out of play, and that's music to the ears of West APIA because it means it's more time off the clock.
Definitely take their time here. APIA getting the ball back into play. Sydney United should definitely gamble and throw people forward to deal with this. It's a good outcome.
Back United go. Ticking towards the final minute of the minimum allocated stoppage time. Nez in possession. Driving forward up the pitch. It goes to Tillo. He's been effective at times throughout this game, as has Ayuk Mo since he's come on. Quick check of the shoulder from Nakano. He realises there is space there for Sydney United 58, and Carlos de Oliveira shut down by Rory Jordan. And again, West APIA will take another dead ball out of play, and they'll take more time off the clock again. Ante Juric watching on. Won the Waratah Cup this season with Sydney United at 58. It is his Australian Championship run about to come to an early end. APIA might think about adding a third here potentially. Caspers. Knez went in strong but fair. United will get it back again, and this might be, if they're allowed it, their last opportunity of the game. Janjetovic. All eyes on the referee. Mo wins the header. Flicked on for Aaron Basic. Tries to go at Kelly, who is on that booking. Aaron Basic. Kelly gets it clear, and they'll get a corner here, Sydney United.
Looks like the ref is going to allow this corner to be taken. Last chance for Sydney United to get something out of the game.
Will we see some late drama in Adensa Park? Janjetovic has gone up for this one. De Oliveira, a good ball towards the near post. Knez couldn't crane his neck around for it. And so West APIA break their winless run. They get back in the winner's circle after 2 games without a win. And it means that they sit in pole position to progress. And they have a good opportunity on the final day against Bayswater to try and make their case to finish top of this group. So full time at the Sydney United Sports Centre. We end as we started this second half with Sydney United 1, West APIA 2. And it's been a great game overall, Perko, as we will take you through the highlights very shortly. But what do you make of the 90 minutes we just saw?
Yeah, it was an interesting game. Obviously, both teams being not very convincing. Sydney United failing to get a point from their 3rd straight game. No doubt they'll be very, very disappointed to bow out of this championship. But likewise with APIA, it was very, very important for them to get back onto the winner's circle. However that looked like, wasn't a pretty performance from them, but it was a professional performance in the sense that outside of that set piece conceding goal, they did enough to get the 3 points, and they will look to build on that into the last game of the group match.
And so it's poised very nicely for that game on the final day, with Bayswater travelling to take on West APIA at Leichhardt Oval. That game may well decide who finishes top of the group. West APIA do have better goal difference than Bayswater, so even though coming into this weekend they're 3 points behind, that 3 points could be made up with the goal difference that West APIA have. Meanwhile for Sydney United, that brings their Australian Championship run to an end. As we'll take you through the 90 minutes that was. There's Farakoko, who was lively. He'll no doubt feature in a couple of these highlights. Meanwhile, let's take a look from the opening part of the game. It was Sydney United getting forward. Krislovic was a big part of their first half charge. Cambiashi would find Drayden Kelly.
See Sean Simmons making a run infield, getting a nice shot off that Janjetovic was equal to.
That wouldn't be the first time, as West APIA would threaten. At 0-0, they hit the crossbar and woodwork a couple of times. Cambiashi on that occasion. And then this link up between Cambiashi and Ortiz. This showed why they were 2 of the premier attackers in the competition. Presley Ortiz, known mostly as a finisher, but he's really added playmaking to his game. And then Krislovic putting his name on the score sheet with his 2nd goal in back-to-back games at the Sydney United Sports Centre to make it 1-1. As West Apia would come back quickly and continue to fire a flurry. United would have their chances in the first half. They might look at this one as one that maybe could have been with a goal-mouth scramble, Chimenti and Coco having opportunities. And unfortunately for United, it would end 2-1 at the halftime break. Janjetovic tries to claim it, couldn't clear it away. And Kelly, who else but him? He is now Apia's top scorer in the Australian Championship. Here are the second half highlights. Apia would flash chances at goal, as would United, have a couple each way, but ultimately West Apia would have too much possession and too much quality for their NPL New South Wales rivals. So let's have a look at the match stats, and well, that tells the story, Perker. What do you see from those from the game?
Clearly see who was the dominant side in this game with 16 shots on goal for Apia. Only 7 on them on target. They want to improve that ratio a little bit going into the final game, and then no doubt into the knockout rounds. Set pieces was important in this game. Obviously, a couple of goals coming from that.
So here's how the groups all shake up. That's Group A and Group B for you. All the action in Group A is tomorrow. Important games between Moreton City and Sydney Olympic. That's really going to decide, I think, who will finish second in that group. Of course, another game still to play, but Group A is really a fight for second spot, with South Melbourne having already secured their spot. And then, of course, Group B, very important for who finishes first and second, because Group D is where we are. And the winner of Group D, which is currently West Apia on the live ladder, will play second in Group B and vice versa the other way. So all eyes will be on Bayswater City and Metro Stars. Apia will be hoping that Metro Stars do them a bit of a favour. So as we take you through our fixtures for round 5 across the match day, Saturday is proving to be a good one. Sydney Olympic and Moreton City Excelsior kicking you off before South Melbourne and Broadmeadow take over. And then a whole slate of 5 games for you on your Sunday. Take your pick of those, because the finals picture is starting to heat up as the games become more and more important as we get to the first set of quarterfinals for the Australian Championship. So it's been a fantastic start on this Friday, an all NPL New South Wales game to kick us off. Perko, any final thoughts on this one before we take it away?
Obviously, APIA setting themselves up nicely, entering the final game of the group stages. Really excited to see more football, more championship football over the weekend, with some nice fixtures coming up tomorrow and Sunday.
Well, it's been a great Friday night of football. Reminder, you can tune back in tomorrow on SBS for all the action. For David Perkovic, I've been Will Constantinides. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back soon tomorrow.